Giannis just forced the Bucks in one of the craziest moves. They will pay Damian Lillard $23 million the next 5 years to not play basketball for them. Oh, it's tough to build an NBA roster trying to do it with $23 million less than everybody else. But they did it to sign Myles Turner. They opened up money to pay him in free agency, filling a big need in the roster. Brook Lopez just left for LA, and there are very few centers who are a perfect fit next to Giannis, but Turner is one. Plus, this hurts the Pacers for years, and they hate those people. Turner's just 29 years old, was key to their success making the finals, but is this going to work? Not even close. I am sorry, but Myles Turner isn't like a superstar player, but that is how they are paying him, because dude makes $27 million now, plus the $23 million of Dame's money. So it's like they're paying $50 million for Myles Turner. Do you know who makes $50 million? Last year, like Nikola Jokic, Kevin Durant. It's more than Giannis himself, but is having Myles Turner like having two Giannis-type players? Not even close. And you guys know the number one rule in this new CBA is to not have bad contracts. Well, they've got a heck of a bad one now. Not saying that Myles Turner isn't worth $28 million, but when you add it all together, no. So Giannis might stay for now, but how long till he realizes this mistake? But Chris Haynes already reported, hey, Giannis was not pleased with the team's decision to waive Damian Lillard. And right after that, Giannis posted, Mood 100, with the caption, I have no idea what's going on. What does that even mean? Does it mean he's not happy? Because if so, shut up, Giannis. Constantly pushes his team to go all in, so he can't complain when they do something crazy like this. First, rumors that he could leave, so they trade for Jrue Holiday. Rumors again, trade for Damian Lillard. Then, oh, they're all out of ammo, no moves left. But out of nowhere, we have never seen a salary this big get waived. Nobody thought it was possible. So Giannis keeps getting away with this, but there's a problem. Pressuring your team only works if you plan to leave. Like LeBron forces his teams to spend all of their assets to compete, and then when they're no longer a contender, he's like, all right, guys, I'm out. It was fun. Going to another team. Have fun with that. But who cares? That's cool, right? Like, plenty of teams would love for LeBron to come do that with them. But if you plan to stay on the team, it doesn't really work. Like Dirk Nowitzki or Tim Duncan, they played the long game with their teams. Even Steph Curry, he doesn't pressure that much, allows Golden State to build in a smart way. Giannis is like burning it to the ground and then wondering, like, how did this happen? So I am tired of Giannis threatening to leave, but not having the guts to actually go through with it. Like, so many quotes like, oh, I don't want to be on the same team for 20 years and only win one chip. But did it ever feel like he was actually going to leave? No. So the Bucks did this to keep Giannis happy. And let's be honest, they actually have a golden opportunity next year. Celtics are dead with Jason Tatum's injury. Pacers are screwed with Tyrese Halliburton and now Myles Turner gone. So Milwaukee could potentially make the finals with some luck. They fill a valuable need at center, but they're not done yet. They still need perimeter defense, scoring outside of Giannis, and a point guard to help Giannis handle the ball. Maybe they go after Anthony Simons from Boston. All they would have to do is deal Kyle Kuzma in a clean swap. Chris Paul? I'll tell you who I don't feel bad for is Damian Lillard. The dude obviously didn't love living in Milwaukee away from his family. This way, Dame can actually get paid twice just to rehab, and he gets to pick where he goes for the first time in his career. Rumors say the Miami Heat are interested, and this time they could get Dame without giving up any assets other than cap space. Dame's chances of winning a ring actually went way up with this. The Athletic actually reported he's at home, quote, elated about the move. Dude must have been legit miserable in Milwaukee. But I do feel bad for the Pacers. Can you imagine? You are one win away from the championship and then your owner goes cheap? How could he not pay the luxury tax to keep Myles Turner? Well, actually, there is a brand new NBA rule this year that forced this to happen. So Herb Simon owns the team, and he is a shopping mall billionaire. You know, not exactly a thriving industry, so he's a little cheap. That's cool. He hasn't paid the luxury tax for 20 years, but said, you know what, I will do it to keep this roster together. Then two things happened. Number one, Tyrese Halliburton got injured, so it kind of sucked to pay the luxury tax for a gap year. And 2, this new luxury tax rule. Starting next season, for every dollar above the tax you spend, you have to pay an extra dollar up to 5.7 million. The next level is 5.7 million to 11.4. You owe $1.25 for every dollar above the tax. But then it gets insane. Level 3 jumps to $3.50 for every dollar you spend. And level 4 is $5 for every $1 you spend above the tax. So there is no way Herb Simon, a guy who hasn't paid the tax in 20 years, was going to be a level 3 or level 4 team. But check this out. Pacers salary cap, these are the guys under contract for Indy. And by the way, they've got to keep 14 players on the roster. That's an NBA rule, 14 minimum. So down at the bottom, 2 minimum contracts. But add Myles Turner to this, bam, 12 million over the tax, a level 3 team. There was no way Herb Simon was gonna pay that, so it makes sense. They probably went to Myles Turner, they were like, hey dude, we really actually need you to take a really team-friendly deal. And other teams were like, no way dude, we'll pay you. So Myles was like, I have to leave, I have no choice. In fact, we know they offered 3 years, 60 million, which is a slap in the face to a guy who's been a lifelong Pacer, key to their finals run. The Bucks almost friggin' doubled that, and now the Pacers have to see Turner go to their biggest rival? Now, what are the Pacers gonna do next? We'll see, maybe they get DeAndre Ayton at center. He might already be a Laker by the time you see this video. But most likely, this is a big blow to Indy, especially Tyrese Halliburton, who is now down to one key teammate when he returns from that injury. But the real question is, what happens with the Bucks if they flame out? How bad is their situation really? Honestly, I think it's kind of genius, and here's why. Let's say Giannis realizes they've got no chance to win. Next year, they're not even a top 3 seed or something, and then team building beyond that's impossible with all of Dame's dead money on the books. So if Giannis does get traded, they also now have Myles Turner, who's got real value. And then at that point, if you're rebuilding, who cares if you have 23 million in dead money on the books? Rebuilding teams don't need big money anyway. It would be an excuse to suck and not pay for a good roster. Of course, in this scenario, the Bucks would need to trade for their own first-round picks back. But before this deal, they had Giannis and Dame to trade. And Dame had very little value as an injured 34-year-old. But they flip him for Myles Turner, who absolutely has value. So I love what Milwaukee is planning here. They are taking a wild swing to keep Giannis, but if that doesn't connect, then they get to start all over, dealing both Giannis and now Turner, who has value. But one guy on the Bucks who is in serious trouble is Malik Beasley. While in Milwaukee, feds are investigating him for betting on games. This is the 3rd major scandal that we've had in the NBA lately, so I took a deep dive into the Malik Beasley situation to see how shady is this dude actually? Is he innocent? Or is his NBA career officially over?